Welcome to another episode of Midwest Steppas, and your boy keep a situation. So go ahead and get situated while we take a deep dive into one of the biggest gangs most independent journalists never touch. Not a small group of minorities terrorizing parts of the community, but one that has outreach further than the mafia. They bang the color blue and follow a strict code amongst each other. They rule with an iron fist, one operating right under the nose of every American.
Today's indictment brings the number of past and current East Cleveland cops charged with crimes to 21. That's in just over 3 years. And it doesn't include the former mayor, councilman, and chief of staff.
Showing Parks tase a handcuffed man twice. Investigators say it followed an October 2021 police chase. Investigators say the
for robbing drivers during traffic stops while on duty.
County jury ordered East Cleveland to pay Black $20 million in damages.
How much money have you seen from East Cleveland sitting here today?
Zero. Not a couple coin.
The police. In this story, although it occurs throughout the entirety of the country, today we gonna focus on a small fraction, aka faction of East Cleveland and surrounding areas. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Now, if you're from the hood, you're well aware that the police department moves more like a gang than a system that's put forth to protect you. In the hood, you have to be just as worried as the police officers as the rival gang members. For me, if you're from Flint, you knew Julio and you knew Harlem Green, people who took oaths to protect and serve. We talking about the secret corruption that's aided and abetted in tearing down the Black communities of the Midwest, particularly East Cleveland. Now, if you're from East Cleveland, chances are you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Long before the lawsuits, long before headlines, before accusations, Spots wasn't just another police officer.
Sometimes, unfortunately, there are officers who feel that because you wear this badge that you can do some things that you just can't do.
He was a neighborhood cop. Kids knew him from the DARE program. Parents knew him from the youth sports. To a lot of people, he was the face of East Cleveland Police Department. And the crazy part is, no matter which rabbit hole I went down, whether it was Sandra Varney, Arnold Black, Eric Brewer, or allegations of corruption inside the department, somehow I kept ending up right back at Ralph Spots. Now, like I said, Ralph Spots will work for the DARE program dedicated to drug abuse resistance education that teaches young kids about the effects of using drugs. If you're old enough, you remember this commercial.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
To say the least, Spots did gain favor of plenty of the East Cleveland residents. Obviously, there's a darker side to Spots than he portrayed to the public. Spots eventually moved up through the ranks to eventually becoming the police chief, from the head figure calling shots at the Jump Out Boys. Now, the Jump Out Boys get their name for literally pulling up in unmarked cars, jumping out on groups of people that they suspect as drug dealers or having guns. They would jump out, chase, search, and most of the time, give you a good beating. They would do what they call stings. I've been caught in plenty of stings for just going to the neighborhood store to get what I smoked, Rellos back then, and wind up being searched, roughed, housed, for no apparent reason besides the fact of being young and Black. Cause see, Spots took Patricia Lane's role as chief officer after Brewer turned mayor. Before Eric Brewer ever became mayor, he had already been a crime fighter, investigative journalist.
Do you want a mayor who's going to be passive about police misconduct, or do you want a mayor who's going to be aggressive about police misconduct? And I think it's horrible that a Black president had to send a Black attorney general to a predominantly Black city to tell a Black mayor and a Black police chief that their people were being terrorized by police officers. I think you have to have that kind of mindset to go in and fight for the people. So if you're abrasive and I'm ticking people off, it means I'm doing my job.
Political operator who wrote smear campaigns for Mayor Michael White. He was a newspaper publisher and chief staff inside of East Cleveland Hall under Mayor Emmanuel Nonuar. By the time voters elected him, he spent nearly 25 years fighting with politicians, exposing scandals, and making enemies. Brewer will eventually fall out with Mayor Emmanuel Nonuar, accusing him of stealing and scandal. Before we can understand why Eric Brewer became such a controversial figure, we gotta talk about the man who came before him, Mayor Emmanuel Nonuar. Now, Emanuel was supposed to help lead East Cleveland out of the years of decline. Instead, federal investigators would accuse him of selling out the city. According to federal prosecutors, Unonura accepted more than $70,000 in bribe from businessman Nate Gray in exchange for steering city contracts. One of the biggest contracts involved the city water department. Eventually, FBI moved in, federal jury convicted him, and to make matters even worse, after Emmanuel Unonura was arrested and put into prison, his son, Clifton Unonura, would kill his mother for allegedly snitching on his father. Damn. Them African boys don't play. And just like that, East Cleveland had another mayor headed to prison. Now, why that matters? Because long before the FBI ever arrested Emanuel, one of the loudest people accusing him of corruption was his own former chief of staff, Eric Brewer. At first, people thought Brewer was just bitter, then the convictions came. All of a sudden, people started wondering, maybe Brewer wasn't crazy after all. That's exactly why people of East Cleveland elected him mayor. They wanted somebody to clean house, a real whistleblower. A lot of people began to take Brewer serious when the accusations was later exposed as truth. After the people elected Brewer to go and clean house, when Brewer became mayor, he would fire Patricia Lane, saying Lane allowed a fellow female officer to use police equipment to spy on her husband or ex-husband. Detective Ralph Spots was her replacement. In the Jump Out Boys, there was usually always at least one, if not a group, who just got off on the action of chasing, catching, and beating people in the community, like the movie Training Day. That person for East Cleveland was Officer Hicks.
There's been rumors a long time about Detective Randy Hicks doing these underhanded stuff. So therefore, I come to council to congratulate those who might have finally fired Randy Hicks, Detective Randy Hicks. But to my surprise, I find out that Detective Randy Hicks was not fired for the abusive thing that he'd done. He was allowed to slip out the back door with his pension and all his stuff and leave quietly.
Hicks was rumored by East Cleveland to be one of the most rogue cops of the department, with accusations of planting evidence, stealing evidence, and violence. The first incident that I know behind the urban legend of Hicks is Sandra Varney. What we do know about Sandra Varney is she was an alleged prostitute, drug addict turned paid informant. See, Hicks was said to be robbing drug dealers and using the money to fund his own little paid informant agenda. So technically, she wasn't a paid informant. Now, some say Sandra knew too much. Others say Hicks had a romantic relationship with Hicks, which isn't far-fetched. Police use their authority to basically grape prostitutes all the time, more than one may think.
At 6, East Cleveland police accepted the resignation of an officer accused of sexual misconduct with a 22-year-old woman inside a police car. Police Chief Ralph Spots confirms the acting sergeant offered the woman a ride to the bus stop but never called it in. The officer instead took her on 2 police calls and then to a parking lot. Channel 5, a woman complained the officer made inappropriate sexual advances.
But Sandra would be strangled on October 7, 2006 behind a Noble Motel on Euclid. Now, Mayor Brewer said he would visit Town Manor Motel himself. Upon investigation, the receptionist would tell Brewer that Officer Hicks had gotten a complimentary room the night before as part of an investigation. But problem is, Hicks was an officer, not a detective. This made Brewer more suspicious. Brewer say the street started connecting Hicks to Varney's murder. Brewer writes that a higher investigative reporter, Carl Mundy, developed information from a witness claiming to be an undercover informant for Hicks. Said that he was supposed to meet Varney the day of the murder, tying Hicks to Sandra Varney. Brewer says that this is when he personally started looking harder at Hicks. After that, Brewer says he confronted Ralph Scotts. According to Brewer, Scotts first denied Hicks knew Sandra. Brewer said he then involved FBI SAC Frank Fuglizzi. I know I chopped that. Brewer claimed Spots later admitted Sandra had been Hicks' undocumented confidential informant, which contradicts Spots and Hicks' earlier claims. Brewer said he wanted Hicks investigated and alleged Spots also. This investigation was never put to bed, and Sandra Varney killer is still on the loose. Although the streets of East Cleveland claim they know who the killer is, and so do the police. And even with the mayor actively investigating them, they will only put a halt on the behavior for a minute. See, Brewer came as a disruptor to the powers that be. He seemed to spend more time trying to clean up the department, which looks more like he spent more time arguing and being combative. The people want to see change, and that's hard to do when you made enemies with all these people and officials that unfortunately you're gonna need to make a change. Brewer had to go. Right before re-election time, pictures of Brewer dressed up as a woman was leaked from his personal computer.
Police say Cleveland mayoral candidate Eric Brewer was dressed as a woman when he was charged with marijuana possession and driving with a suspended license 2 years ago in Boston Heights. It was 2009 when, during a heated race for mayor of East Cleveland, that Brewer admitted on national TV that he dressed in drag and posed for pictures.
I need to know who you are. Okay, that's what I'm trying to find out. I go by the name Erica.
Charges against
Brewer would admit to the photos being him, but would lose the next election. Damn. Notice every time a man gets into a position of power or get too disruptive, they use sexual allegations to demonize them. Think about it. Bill Cosby was said to be trying to buy Warner Brothers or something, Michael Jackson, when he had the Beatles catalog, got Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, Rashid Jamarr, Brother Polite, Robert Johnson of BT, Diddy, Tupac, Jesse James, Martin Luther King, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton. That was all part of COINTELPRO. You normally never can come back from a sexual scandal. It's one of the strongest spells you can put on a person. You have to be a fool if you think these people is not using these tactics to discredit anyone who could be seen as a leader for the black community. Look how they put out Will Smith relationship, that humiliation ritual. They would send females at you, just like they say. Behind every strong empire is a powerful woman. Behind every failed empire is a powerful woman. Women are powerful. So to make a long story short, Brewer ass was out of there. The city did not support a cross-dressing mayor, no matter how much corruption you're exposing. But guess who's still in position? Spots and Hicks. Their party will be interrupted again when an incident, not so much of an incident, of Arnold Black. Imagine this, Arnold Black just trying to go home. But reports will read on April 28th at approximately 10 p.m. Black was driving home from his mother's house when he was pulled over by East Cleveland Patrolman Jonathan O'Leary. Sergeant Randy Hicks had ordered O'Leary to stop the truck because it resembled a green truck belonging to a suspected drug dealer. Hicks was a narcotics detective on Cleveland's east side and also a member of the Special Joint Narcotics Task Force. Now, O'Leary had told Black to get out the car, handcuffed him, and escorted him to the back of the truck. Black was sitting on the back bumper in the front of O'Leary's patrol car when Hicks arrived on the scene. Black testified that Hicks immediately began searching his car and removed the side panels from his truck. Hicks did not find any narcotics in the truck and came brandishing a bag and questioning Black about who sold drugs on the east side. Black replied that he didn't know. Hicks became violent and repeatedly struck Black's face and head without provocation or justification. Hicks admitted at trial that he struck Black several times until O'Leary came between them and stopped him. Now, Black and O'Leary both testified that Hicks may have been under the influence of alcohol at the time of the incident because it smelled of alcohol. Now, they done took Black down to jail, didn't charge him with nothing, and threw him inside of a storage room. Police referred to as a holding cell, even though there was no bed, no toilet in the room. The room contained a wooden bench, some storage lockers, some cleaning supplies, and was infested with cockroaches. Black remained in the storage room for 4 days.
I remember being in that room more than anything because I was afraid.
Arnold Black of East Cleveland still relives being locked in a closet.
I don't know what they was gonna do to me. You know what? Nobody came and left the whole police station annoyed me.
At some point, an officer came and let Black use the phone. Black called his fiancée, Erica Bay, and told her in a whisper that he'd been arrested and beaten and being held at the Cleveland jail. Bay went down there to see what's up with her man and asked to see him, and they said that she couldn't see him because he was under investigation. So I guess she done went to a councilwoman, because councilwoman came to the jail and inquired about him because she heard that he had been beaten while he's in handcuffs and is being detained without probable cause in the city jail. Chief Spots accompanied the woman to go visit Black inside the storage room. And she sort of snapped at this time of age, how can you be beaten and put into a closet? You know what I'm saying? Therefore, he ended up getting out of jail. And he drove home. And according to Bay, Black's head was swollen like a helmet. And he was acting fearful. In the weeks following the incident, Black complained about headaches and developed vision problems. His mother and Bay also observed changes in his personality. They described him as withdrawn and unwilling to leave the house due to fear of police. Black eventually sought medical attention and required a surgery to remove blood from his brain.
Gee, I got 2 pinholes in the scars like that.
He says the beating by the detective left him with a brain injury that required surgery.
He could have died, and they just hold him. Following the incident, O'Leary reported Hicks to his supervisor, including Spots. O'Leary told Spots that the dash camera would show Hicks beating Black while he was handcuffed. And he also completed a Form M, a report in which O'Leary details Hicks' actions with respect to Black. And then nobody from the department followed up with the investigation of the incident, and the dash camera went missing. O'Leary testified that the department's failure to take action in response to the incident suggests the department was intended to cover it up. And stick with me now, because Hicks would testify that there was a culture of violence in East Cleveland Police Department. He explained that the part of his on-the-job training, he was taught to use violence against citizens in order to obtain information from them and instill fear. Hicks explained that when he was a patrol officer, he and Spots were a part of a group known as the Jump Out Boys. Whenever they encountered citizens gathering on the sidewalk, they would jump out of their cars and throw the citizens on the ground and beat or boot them. Hicks was also taught to clear the corners by slamming people against cars, searching them for drugs without probable cause, and if they didn't find any drugs, making it inconvenient for them. The slang that they came up with, which essentially just meant stripping citizens down in the middle of the winter, making them stand naked in the cold.
Even if they found no contraband on someone that was just, say, on the sidewalk, in the middle of winter, they would strip that person down completely of all their clothes in the snow.
They strip people on a daily basis. Hicks testified that he would not be promoted if he refused to engage in these violent tactics. Spots was chief of police in the East Cleveland Police Department at the time of Black's arrest. Hicks testified that as a top law enforcement officer in East Cleveland, Spots was responsible for establishing policies and procedures for the jail, criminal investigation, and every aspect of the police department. Under Spots' supervision, it was well known that there was a right way, a wrong way, and an East Cleveland way. And the East Cleveland way included lack of meaningful oversight by supervisors and routine failures. The jury returned a verdict in favor of Black, awarding him $10 million in compensatory damages, $12 million in punitive damages, $1 million against O'Leary for false arrest and violations of civil rights under 42 U.S.C. 1983, and $11 million against Spots for spoliation of supervisory liability. Then they tried to appeal the whole thing, showing that the state still didn't feel like they were wrong in the situation. They had no accountability. Hicks was forced to resign, not fired. That way Hicks can get hired in another jurisdiction, preserve professional relationships, retain eligibility, and avoid formal disciplinary actions. Because they don't get rid of these officers. They just get a job in another poor jurisdiction so they can harass and beat the citizens there.
Some in that wash ain't clean.
We found 1 in 4 of the police officers reviewed either resigned while facing termination or were fired from other departments before East Cleveland Police hired them.
They like these road cops in these areas so they can use them to do immoral things to help keep the community in distraught, to help feed the agenda. And that wasn't the end of it. Years later, Cleveland found itself in another scandal. Y'all thought Hicks and Spots was the end of the story. And this time, the man in the center of it all It was Kenneth Lundy.
Accused of having a relationship with a witness in a murder case that he was actually investigating.
Now, Lundy had worked his way up through the East Cleveland Police Department. He was appointed into a classified police position in 2016, then moved through the ranks of sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and eventually acting chief of police in January of 2024. But here's the crazy part. Years before becoming chief, Lundy was already involved in a murder investigation that would later come back and damn near destroy his career. In October of 2017, a man named Jamarr Forkland was found shot inside of a burned vehicle in East Cleveland. Police eventually focused on a man named Jerry Sims, and the biggest witness against Sims was his girlfriend at the time, Erica Campbell. Now, according to later court testimony and filings, Campbell didn't originally tell police she saw Sims kill anybody. But as investigation continued, her story changed. She eventually became the state's key witness and testified that Sims was responsible for the murder. Sims was convicted in 2019, and for years, that was the story. Jerry Sims killed Jamarr Forkland. Case closed. But then years later, Campbell came back and said something that blew the whole case open. She said she lied. Not only did she say she lied, but she said Detective Kenneth Lundy had been having a sexual relationship with her before and during the murder trial. And Lundy himself later acknowledged that the sexual relationship began before trial. Now imagine this. You got the lead detective investigating your boyfriends for a murder. And at the same time, he's sleeping with you. The same woman whose testimony is about to help send that man to prison. Campbell would later claim that Lundy manipulated her, pressured her, molded her to feel like Sims was dangerous, and pushed her into giving testimony that wasn't true.
The office claims Lundy pressured, intimidated, and financially manipulated the witness. They say she then changed her statement and testified in the trial, leading to the suspect being wrongfully convicted.
But Lundy denied forcing her to lie. But by 2025, the situation had gotten so serious that the prosecutor asked the court to hold a hearing to determine what really happened between Lundy and Campbell. Then April 2025, Campbell got on the stand and recanted. She admitted under oath that she had given false testimony during Sims' murder trial. After hearing that, and after hearing the relationship between Lundy and Campbell became part of the record, prosecutors dropped the charges against Jerry Sims. A man that spent more than 7 years behind bars walked free. But believe it or not, that still wasn't the end of Kenneth Lundy's problems. Because once investigators started looking deeper into Lundy, they didn't just find that Sims situation.
Prosecutors are accusing Lundy of more crimes. The state of Ohio believes in 2016, Lundy dropped all minor drug charges in a case in exchange for a Chevy Tahoe worth $50,000. He's also being accused of falsifying case records and taking out funds for investigations and instead pocketing the money for himself.
They found several completely separate alleged schemes. One allegation goes back to 2016. Prosecutors say Lundy agreed to make drug charges against a suspect disappear in exchange for the suspect's father giving him a Chevrolet Tahoe valued at $50,000. And according to prosecutors, Lundy then used that Tahoe as both a work vehicle and his own personal vehicle. Then in 2018, prosecutors say Lundy had another drug suspect arrested and demanded $10,000 in exchange for getting the man's charges significantly reduced. They also accused him of falsifying police documents connected to that situation. Then there's the police money. According to prosecutors, between August and September of 2018, Lundy requested $3,000 from an East Cleveland Police Department trust account. The money was supposed to be used as investigative buy money, but prosecutors allege Lundy deposited the money into his own personal bank account and used it for something else. So now, we ain't just talking about sleeping with a witness anymore. We're talking about allegations of bribery, stealing police money, falsifying reports, witness intimidation, civil rights violations. The crazy thing is, while all this allegedly happened, Lundy kept moving up the ranks. By January 2024, he was acting police chief. But even that promotion later became controversial. When Lateef Shabazz became mayor in 2025, he reviewed Lundy's employment history and claimed Lundy had been promoted from his original police appointment all the way through sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and acting chief without completing the competitive civil service examination required by Ohio law and East Cleveland ordinances. Shabazz fired him July of 2025. Then came March 25th, 2026. The Cuyahoga County Grand Jury indicted East Cleveland Police Chief Kenneth Lundy on 31 criminal counts: bribery, witness intimidation, perjury, complicity to commit perjury, interfering with civil rights, dereliction of duty, falsification, obstruction, assault, just a whole bunch of shit, tampering. Lundy pleaded not guilty, and he has not been convicted of those charges. But look at the story we just told. We started with Ralph Spots, Randy Hicks, the chief detective accused of operating inside a police culture where violence and misconduct allegedly became normal. Then years later, another detective rises through the same department eventually became chief. And now he's accused of manipulating a murder witness, taking bribes, stealing police funds. Different generation, different chiefs, different names, same damn city. And that's when I started realizing, maybe the question was never whether East Cleveland had dirty cops. Maybe the question was, how many times can the same type of scandal happen before you stop calling it an isolated incident? Now there's the crazy part. The deeper I dug into East Cleveland, the more I realized this story might not stop at the city limits. Because just up the road, Cuyahoga County itself was dealing with one of the biggest public corruption scandals in Ohio history. Names like Frank Russo, Jimmy DeMuro, Nate Gray, billions of dollars in public contracts, bribes, kickbacks, politicians going to federal prison. A whole different rabbit hole. And if you want to see me break down all those people and how it connects to East Cleveland, let me know in the comments. But real talk, can I ask y'all a question? During slavery time, they didn't allow us to read. And let's think about the type of books that was going around that time. Like, I don't think they really had how-to-do books or books about business. I think the biggest books around the time would have been the Bible, which they let us read the Bible. And the other important books would be the laws, the Constitution. And maybe that's what they didn't want us to read, the treaties, and understand the treaties. And even to this day, they done made the law books so incomprehensible that it's hard to read. They have the Black Law Dictionary, where these standard words have different definitions. Take the word shall. Now, shall sounds like it can be something that you might or might not do, but shall in the Black Law Dictionary means must. Now, if a simple word like shall means must in their terms of speaking, imagine all the other words that we don't know exactly what they mean, but they sound the same as regular Webster Dictionary terms of etiquette. So that way, it can get you to agree to things that you never truly understood. That's why it's so important for them to ask you, do you understand? Our whole lives are run and affected by laws, good laws, bad laws. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. But they don't teach you nothing about law in school. And there's a reason for that. Because a lot of our power lies in equity, lies in law. I done beat a couple cases myself, and even a child support case. Check out y'all that's magnified, because he is dropping the truth. But I'm understanding how deep this go when you don't know the laws aren't just there to tear you down. They also, it's the reason why a lot of these people are getting rich, because they know the laws that govern that situation. And that's why they don't want us knowing it, because anything we join, you know we gonna outdo them in. So the thing is, put it in a book, they'll never look. Because let's be for real. In order to have our own country, we need our own laws, we need our own army, we need to be able to feed ourselves. How can we do that? So the best way to do this is to hop into the game and get it from the inside. And you're never gonna be able to do that if it's lame for you to learn these laws. Protect yourself, get it on the record. You can't just go in there complaining, you have to talk to the record. It gets so deep with this law stuff, man, this contract law, this trust law. And I feel like our freedom lies somewhere in there, or either one of the keys that we need. Now, I gotta get this off my chest. I don't care if I lose views, because if the right people see this, it can help a lot. Look, these people know the occult science that they stole from our people. We've just forgotten them. And one of the laws of the universe is karma. They learn to dodge the karma. That's how they get away with all the bullshit. You can dodge karma by informing the person you are wronging of what's going on. After that, it becomes a choice. See, that's the type of shit Kanye be trying to say, but he can't articulate it. So, for example, they tell you to go vote, and don't lie. The first thing you thought about was the president, right? Right. And that's by plan. They stopped teaching you shit about separation of powers in school. The three branches, the judicial, that's the judges. They interpret the law. Executive, that's what the president is. He enforces the law that the Congress put in place. Congress is the third branch. They only deal with the foreign shit. Countries, oil, war with Afghanistan, shit that's not really you. Meaning, the Congress is one of the most powerful, and they supposed to directly go off the will of the people, right? Which is the fourth branch that nobody even knows about. Follow me. Now, that number 3 holds significant value, just like the Trinity. They doing secret witchcraft, man. Then you have the same thing on the state level. You got the Supreme Court of Ohio. Your governor is just like the president would be. And then the state representative would be like Congress. You get what I'm saying? Then on the city level, you have the same thing where the president will be your mayor, and then your council people will be your Congress. Administrative judges will be the judicial branch. Now, if you think about it, when the president get in office, don't too much shit change about you. You don't even really notice that. But notice how life changed when these mayors steal all the money out the community. The state and the city level is what directly affects you. Everyone knows to vote for the president, and that's by purpose. The flash, the lights, oh, it's the president. And how you go and vote for shit, it don't even matter to you. See, they tell you to vote, but they don't tell you what for. Question, do you know the last time or the next time they vote for the city planner, the person that's supposed to fix all these holes in the street, but pocket the money by giving a contract to his brother at an inflated price, then allow him to cut corners by just slapping down that cheap ass gravel filling the holes instead of paving the whole street? What about voting on the corrupt judge that allowed that to happen under his nose, all while sending you to jail for traffic tickets on the street that you can hardly drive on? When do you vote for the school board responsible for these dumbass kids? We supposed to be putting our own people with morals into office, one by one, and I ain't talking about no nappy head nigga that they pick for us. Put somebody like Artie in there who been fighting for the city for a very long time, kicking out the leeches, coming together as a community to run our shit. It's all black people, man. It's basically our shit. Like, we could literally have Black Wall Street all over again. And this time they can't come bomb us because all eyes is on their ass. But you know, I'll turn this shit to Malcolm X if you let me. So I'm gonna let y'all go, man. Comment, like, and subscribe, man. Come on, push the channel, man. Let's go. Peace.